Elizabeth I was considered progressive in her time because she bathed once every 3 months. Her exact words, recorded by her courtiers, "I bathe once every 3 months, whether I need it or not." Most of her subjects went years without a bath, believing water opened the pores to disease and evil spirits. When Elizabeth did bathe, it was an ordeal. Servants hauled in enormous copper tubs, filling them with water heated over open kitchen fires, water taken from the polluted Thames, thick with sewage, dead animals, and chemical runoff. The soap? A crude mix of rancid animal fat, wood ash, and lye harsh enough to strip skin along with dirt. Between baths, layers of sweat, powders, and perfumes clung to the queen's skin. By the end of her cycle, courtiers could smell her long before she entered the room. In 1579, the French ambassador wrote that he had to hold a pomander to his nose during an audience. His wife fainted at a royal banquet, not from the heat, but from the stench radiating from the throne. By her 40s, Elizabeth's teeth were completely black with decay. Foreign ambassadors reported on them in disgust. The culprit, sugar, a rare luxury she consumed daily, candied violets, sweet wines, marzipan. She would let sugar crystals dissolve slowly in her mouth, bathing her teeth for hours. There was no brushing, no flossing. Only the occasional rinse with wine or rosewater, ironically worsening decay. Her teeth crumbled when she bit down. She was often in so much pain she could only eat broth. Court observers noted her habit of pressing her hand to her jaw, a silent signal of agony. Her physician recommended horrifying remedies, rinsing with urine, crushed pearls in wine, and even cauterizing her jaw with hot iron. By her 50s, she had lost multiple teeth. The few that remained were loose and reeking. Her breath? Courtiers described it as worse than the smell of death on a battlefield. By her 40s, Elizabeth's teeth were completely black with decay. Foreign ambassadors reported on them in disgust. The culprit, sugar, a rare luxury she consumed daily, candied violets, sweet wines, marzipan. She would let sugar crystals dissolve slowly in her mouth, bathing her teeth for hours. There was no brushing, no flossing. Only the occasional rinse with wine or rosewater, ironically worsening decay. Elizabeth's signature red hair was mostly wigs by her 30s, necessitated by lead-based makeup that caused massive hair loss. The wigs were made from peasant women's hair, often lice-ridden and unclean. Once sewn onto silk bases with animal sinew, they were rarely, if ever, washed. Instead, they soaked up months of sweat, powders, and atmospheric grime. Her infected, weeping scalp made things worse. Lice nested in the wigs, picked daily by her ladies-in-waiting, only to return days later. The odor? A sickly mix of perfume, rot, and decay. It lingered in rooms long after her departure. Her ghostly white complexion came from a daily application of ceruse, a lethal blend of white lead and vinegar. This toxic paste burned the skin, flaked like plaster, and built up in layers thick enough to crack. Removal required scraping with ivory combs, tearing skin with it. Elizabeth rarely removed makeup completely. She simply added new layers over old. Over time, her natural face became a wasteland of scars, sores, and discoloration. The lead seeped into her bloodstream, causing memory loss, aggression, and fatigue. Her lips were painted with oils and crushed beetles, which rotted in the heat, adding even more stench. Elizabeth owned over 3,000 gowns, but they were never washed. Precious silks and velvets couldn't survive cleaning. Gowns soaked up sweat, body oils, and perfumes until they reeked. Beneath her gowns, linen undergarments yellowed with sweat and grew stiff with age. Her corsets, made from steel and whalebone, bred bacteria. Shoes festered with fungus. Some outfits weighed over 50 pounds, trapping heat and causing her to sweat profusely. She often wore the same gowns for days, even weeks, worsening the decay. Her extravagant feasts, roast swan, rich sauces, spiced desserts, combined with stress and mercury-based medications led to relentless digestive issues. Bloating, gas, and cramping plagued her. Tight corsets only intensified the discomfort. Mercury, used as a cure for syphilis, caused violent diarrhea. Even in court, she would excuse herself under the guise of illness, when the truth was far more humiliating. Her oral health was a festering nightmare. Her tongue was coated with yellow film, her gums constantly bleeding. Her mouth oozed metallic-tasting saliva, reeking of rot. She tried masking it with herbs, rosewater, and honey, but the bacteria always won. Her throat was swollen and painful. Speaking became difficult. Her smile, once iconic, was now a grotesque rictus of decay. Perfume was her shield. Daily she was doused with oils, musks, and powders, especially civet musk, made from the anal glands of civet cats. The mixture of floral oils and rancid animal products created a nauseating, unforgettable scent. Perfumes fermented in the heat, blending with her unwashed body into a stench described as worse than raw sewage masked with roses. Her feet, hidden in silks and shoes, suffered the worst. Fungal infections, ingrown nails, and open sores festered in the moist, dark conditions. Her stockings clung to waterlogged skin. The smell of her feet alone preceded her entrance. Her shoes, masterpieces of embroidery, became cesspools of bacteria, rotting from the inside out. Her bedchamber, once a haven, became a site of concentrated decay. Linen sheets changed monthly, if lucky, were stiff with dried sweat, urine, and weeping sores. The feather-stuffed mattress harbored bacteria and insects. Her nightgowns were worn until crusted stiff with bodily fluids. Windows remained closed in winter, locking in odors until servants gagged upon entering. By her last decade, the Queen was a walking tomb of untreated infections, poison, and neglect. Her skin sagged in yellow-green patches. Her teeth gone, her scalp bald and bloody. She screamed at courtiers, forgot conversations, and wandered in paranoid rage. Her odor? Described as death itself. When Elizabeth Tudor died on March 24, 1603, the silence in her death chamber was deafening. The elaborate fiction was over. Her body, stripped of illusion, bore the full evidence of decades of self-destruction. Rooms where she lived were sealed and abandoned. The stench lingered for months. You are standing once again in the shadows of Greenwich Palace. But now, the air is filled only with the scent of roses from carefully tended gardens. The horror has been scrubbed away. The truth hidden beneath polished marble and golden tapestries. But if you listen closely to the wind whispering through ancient stones, you may still hear the gasps of servants, the gagging of ambassadors, and the rasping breath of a queen who, in the end, was devoured not by enemies, but by her own vanity. Elizabeth Tudor's greatest enemy was not Spain. It was the mirror. And the realm she left behind? Forced to air out its palaces, and pray that the next reign would smell sweeter.